Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to be making something special out of this chunk of live edge flame box elder. So stick with us. As always guys, don't forget to subscribe, hit that little bell icon. We got some cool projects coming up you don't want to miss. Also, we have free exclusive content. You just got to be part of the email list. There's a link in the description below. So I've had this idea for a while. Me and Dad have been talking about it. We finally got time to do it. We're going to make a rack for hunting gear out of this piece of flame box elder. And I love the bark on it. But we have to stabilize it first because it's just about to fall off. We really wanted to keep the bark on this wood. So Dad squeezed a tiny little tool in between the bark and the wood and got as much Starbond down there as possible. Then he just sprayed it with the accelerator and held it tight for about 30 seconds, and it worked like a charm. Then all we had to do was take the random orbital and sand off all the excess. You would never even know that you glued that on. So the layout on this is going to be super simple. I'm using our 2-inch Western font, and it's only going to be one line, so that makes it nice and easy. I use the shotgun shell as a reference because that's right about where I want them. Then I use my speed square to mark the line where I want my lettering to be. I'll leave a link in the description below for our 2-inch Western set. Once I have a rough idea of where my letters are going to lay out, I just want to mark an even amount of space on the left and right side and make sure to keep my lettering in between those marks. I taped everything around the lettering to make sure that I didn't get any black where I didn't want it to be. Then I used our primer and just sprayed nice and light, but good enough to give me a solid line to follow. I started out with a profile bit at about 1/4 inch deep. Now normally I would use a 60-degree bit to do 2-inch letters, but the Western letters have the little arrow on each side of them, and I wanted to make sure I got that at a pretty fine point, so the profile bit was definitely the right choice. The next bit I used is the 90-degree bit at 3/16 of an inch deep. Now this is pretty simple. All you have to do is go in and get the remainder of the wood out. But I tried to do it in vertical lines to keep a nice even look to it. Even though the texture is a little bit random, I think it kind of gives it a cool look.
Now remember, when you're spraying your black, you don't want to use paint. You want to use flat or matte finish, or what we use more than anything is primer. Once the primer was dry, we used a 60 grit disc on our disc sander to get off the majority of the primer. After that, we went back with the random orbital with a 120 disc. That way it gives it a nice glossy finish.
All right, so now our sign's all carved, but we need some shotgun shells and some 223 casings. But seeing as how the overlords don't like us showing guns on YouTube, we'll do a reenactment. Bang, bang. All right, now that we got our shells that we need, we got to measure and figure out where they're going to go on the board.
I put some tape down so I didn't have to mark on the wood, and then I just measured to make sure that each shell was going to be centered and even.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a dowel in these shotgun shells, and that's how it's going to stay stable. But I want them to look like new shells. So I'm going to go ahead and use the bandsaw and cut the flare off of these things.
Once I had the shells cut the way I wanted them, I sanded down the edge of the dowel, that way it would fit on there nice and easy, and then just hammered each one on and cut it at 1.5 inches.
Interesting fact, a 3/8 Forstner bit is exactly the size you need to sink 357 shells into wood. So we're using a 3/8 and we marked it at exactly 1 inch. So these 357 shells, they'll fit 1 inch into the wood, and then we're going to glue them in.
Originally I was going to use 223 shell casings, but we couldn't really find a bit that would work for it. And plus, this is kind of a western looking sign, so I thought 357 was more appropriate. The dowel we used for the shotgun shells was 3/4 inch, so we used a 3/4 inch Forstner bit, and man, you couldn't ask for a better fit.
So the last step, we're going to glue in the 357 shells with Starbond, but the 3/4 inch Forstner bit is the exact size for the dowels on the shotgun shells. We don't even need any glue. All right, guys, there it is. This has been in my head for a while now, and I think it turned out awesome. This firebox, flamebox elder, whatever it is, I love carving this stuff. It's beautiful. It carves like butter. So don't forget, guys, that I'll leave a link in the description below for the 2-inch Western font, and also we have the free content. You just got to be part of the email list. The link is in the description below. If you have any questions, you can shoot me an email, ryan@makeawoodsign.com, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.